FASOA UK is a small charity devoted to highlighting the problems of drinking when you're pregnant. And there's one woman in charge of it, Gloria Armistead, and it's her. It's what exactly she does in life is trying to promote all the dangers to the unborn child of alcohol, which gets in your bloodstream. The tricky thing is with pregnancy is often that you actually don't know you're pregnant and you're still drinking. And so what they try and do as a charity is just make people aware that if you are thinking of getting pregnant, then to cut out alcohol altogether. They came to us with no budget whatsoever and asked if we could help. And we actually, there's an international advertising competition called the Sappy Paper Awards. And every year you can put in speculative work for a charity. And if you are chosen, you are given part of the grant. They give €1 million a year to charities. And up to 20 charities can bid for this work, bid for the money. And you will get given up to €50,000. So at £34,000 for as big a campaign as you can possibly do, we begged, borrowed and stole every possible thing we could in terms of media space, and we was as creative as possible to ensure that we got as big a voice as possible. When you've only got a small amount of money, you have to make sure that you're as abruptive and intrusive as you possibly can be with the messages. When we did the first ad for it, this appeared in national press. It's a very uncomfortable ad because it shows a tequila bottle, and instead of the mescat worm, you actually have a small fetus in there. Yes, it's not particularly pleasant, but it is doing exactly what we are trying to get over, which is if you drink when you're pregnant, your baby drinks too. It makes uncomfortable viewing, but as I say, if you have a small voice, you have to shout very loud. And with something as clean and as simple a piece of work as this, hopefully it gets a message across in a very abruptive way. We actually sent out to journalists a press release of the very same thing, which is it comes in the bottle. It was hand delivered, and you had the press release inside, which talked about the campaign that we'd be producing. Just one drink can harm an unborn baby. And inside you did have the bottle of tequila with the small fetus thing inside. It was just a plastic. It was made by a model maker with a little hand over the mouth. It's not a very nice piece of work, but it's very, very it's shocking, but hopefully gets the message across. We also produced radio advertising. There were 2 radio ads that we produced for them, which they had first of all there's a girl speaking, and then there's a boy speaking in the other ones, in the other ad. And the voiceover explained, well, the voice said that they didn't like going out. Whenever they went out with their friends, they always had to drink, even though they didn't want to. And at the end, you got the voiceover, the second voiceover explain, really hit it home that it was actually the unborn baby was speaking. Again, it made it uncomfortable listening, but it gets a message across very truthfully, but hopefully in a way that stops you in your tracks. We also produced taxi seat backs and also a second stage campaign. The taxi seat backs actually they were. It said if the person carrying you home tonight, if the person carrying you home had been drinking tonight, you'd be horrified. And it's like really it's talking about the cab driver, but also talking about the mother, the expectant mother. We produced advertising went on the backs of women's toilets, on the backs of the doors. You could read it there. It's almost like a private space, so you can give them more information. And this one, it says it's dangerous if someone spikes your drinks. Again, trying to get over a message that whatever you drink in terms of alcohol, it does go straight to the baby. It makes quite a lot of sense in terms of the actual medical nature of what happens when you drink. Alcohol gets something into your bloodstream and goes into your brain, destroys a few thousand brain cells. Well, when you've got a very small brain, and just an unborn child, it's those few thousand brain cells. They're hard to recover. In terms of the charity itself, we got them exposure in national press. They were on the radio. Gloria was interviewed on television. There's also an hour programme on fetal alcohol syndrome on TV, and she has been given funding for the charity now. And last year, the government actually produced guidelines nationally that says don't drink when you're pregnant. So she finally got what she wanted. Subsequently, unfortunately, the government have kind of backed down a little bit and saying actually 1 drink a week is okay. So she still has to champion this cause. But she sees babies still that when mothers, binge drinking mothers who are quite young, or at any ages, even people you wouldn't necessarily think would ever consider that their drinking would harm their unborn child. I mean, executives in the city and people who are really bright and intelligent and aware people, they don't necessarily know the dangers. What I said to people at the time was, if in the late 60s, if people hadn't been warned of the problems of this drug which you took to help you through your morning sickness, if people hadn't been warned about that, then there'd be more thalidomide children around now than there are. So in terms of the dangers of drinking when you're pregnant, it's good to ensure that people know what the issues are, so you can make an informed choice. In terms of the results of the campaign, not only did it achieve its objectives in the end, for us as an agency, we were able to pick up 2 gold DMA awards, and it got high profile in terms of the industry press. It was featured in a couple of the industry magazines, like Campaign and Marketing, and it was very successful in terms of what it did for the charity as well. It raised their profile internationally, and the actual campaign ran in 21 different countries because of their sister charities in all of those countries. And it was something that we were very proud of as an agency, because it was good quality, high quality work, which with a serious message behind it, but to get it over in an emotive way.